Right now, in whatever room you're picturing, there is a version of you who is bleeding power without knowing it. Every room splits people into two categories: the performer and the weapon. The performer talks first, laughs on cue, broadcasts opinions nobody asked for, then scans every face for approval, like a dog checking if the trick landed. They think they're winning the room. They are actually feeding it. The weapon says almost nothing, sits slightly back, breathes slow. And while the performer burns fuel trying to be seen, the weapon is extracting the one thing that actually matters: leverage. If you already know which one you've been, don't comment yet. Wait until the end. It gets worse before it gets useful. Epictetus knew this 2,000 years ago, though he dressed it as virtue instead of what it really is, a weapons manual. He said the man who needs the stage will always be owned by whoever controls the audience. Strip away the philosophy, and what's left is tactics. Stop performing, and you stop being predictable. Stop being predictable, and you become the only unknown variable. This is not a self-help video. This is an extraction protocol. And it starts with the most expensive resource in any negotiation: information. Here's the mechanism nobody tells you. When you're performing, your processing power is spent on output: how your voice sounds, whether your posture reads as confident, whether the joke landed. That leaves almost nothing left to actually watch the room. You miss the half-second hesitation before someone commits to a promise. You miss the flicker of contempt before the polite smile covers it. You miss the exact moment power shifts hands at the table. The weapon spends zero output, all input. They catch the gap between what a person claims to want and what their body does under pressure. And that gap is where every real decision gets made. This is information asymmetry. And once you have it, the other side cannot catch up. They can't study you back. They're too busy performing for you to be watching them. Sun Tzu said victory belongs to the one who understands the enemy completely, while remaining unreadable themselves. You cannot be unreadable while you're bidding to be noticed. Now here's where it gets dangerous. Most people who try this quit in the first 10 minutes, because silence feels like losing. Every social instinct screams at you to jump in, to defend yourself, to fill the gap. If you've made it this far in the video, you've already spent more attention on this than 90% of people spend understanding their own behavior. You're already invested. Don't waste it by closing the tab and going back to performing tomorrow, because detachment is the second weapon, and it costs something to acquire. When you're a performer, every slight is personal. An interruption feels like an attack. Disagreement feels like erasure. You're defending an identity, which means you're always one insult away from losing control of the room. The weapon doesn't defend. They diagnose. Someone throws hostility at them, and instead of absorbing it, they ask one silent question: what is this person's insecurity, and how exposed did they just make it? That single reframe moves you from target to analyst, from prey to the thing studying the prey. But this costs you something real. You will lose the easy dopamine of being liked. You will sit in rooms where people think you're cold, distant, unreadable, and you will not correct them, because their discomfort with your silence is data too. Schopenhauer said, "A man is only himself when alone, and if you cannot love solitude, he will never love freedom." The price of the observer's power is giving up the need to be understood by people who are never going to use that understanding responsibly anyway. That's the trade. Total control of the information in every room you enter, in exchange for the comfort of being liked by people who don't actually hold any power over your life. Here's the part nobody clocks until it's too late for them. The room keeps a ledger. Every performance for approval is a deposit into someone else's control over you. Every silence flips that ledger. They start wondering what you noticed, what you're not saying. Uncertainty is the most expensive thing you can plant in a mind, and silence plants it for free. Most people won't make that trade. You now know exactly why the room already belongs to someone. 2 moves, starting today. Enter every space with a question instead of a statement. Not how do I get them to like me, but what is this person's next move? Reveal. And run the 70-30 split. 70% silent observation, 30% speech. and make sure that 30% lands with more weight than anyone else's 100. Comment the word leverage if you're done performing for rooms that were never going to reward you.